My old two-story house in the suburbs of Philadelphia still retains its classic charm on the outside, but inside, time has left its clear mark. Each step on the wooden hallway floor creaks with a familiar sound. The fireplace bears a thin layer of soot, like a memory of past winters, and the staircase railing has been polished smooth over the years by countless hands gliding over it. To me, Daniel Carter, these details are not just relics. They are a treasure trove of irreplaceable memories. Before diving into the story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the latest stories. I work at the Whitman Institute, restoring ancient paintings, a job that is both my passion and my way of connecting with my father, who believed art is the soul of life. Noah, breakfast time. I call from the kitchen while pouring orange juice into a glass. Noah, my 7-year-old son, runs down the stairs, his eyes sparkling. Dad, the clouds in the sky are making weird shapes. Noah exclaims from the window, nose pressed against the glass, his small hands pointing at the sky. He has a vivid imagination, turning shapeless clouds into entire adventure stories. Yeah, they're cool, but we don't have time today. Your mom's busy too, I reply, placing a plate of fried eggs in front of him. My wife, Claire Bennett, comes down from upstairs, pulling a small suitcase. She's dressed in a sharp suit, her blonde hair tied up high, exuding professionalism. I have an important meeting this weekend, Claire says, her tone cold, not meeting my eyes. If it goes well, it'll be a big contract. She leans down to ruffle Noah's hair, smiling. My sweet boy, when I get back from this trip, I'll bring you an awesome gift, I promise. Noah looks up at his mom. Really? Claire winks at him. Of course. I quietly clear the table, an uneasy feeling rising as I hear Claire's words. Lately, she seems to be hiding something. Since my father passed away 3 months ago, leaving a large inheritance, antiques, real estate, and a sum of money, Claire's changed. She's grown distant, late-night calls have increased, and her eyes avoid mine. I try to push the thought away, but the unease lingers. Claire is a venture capitalist, always busy with trips and long calls. She has a charming smile, especially when working, but with me, that smile is increasingly rare. When are you back? I ask, trying to keep my voice calm. Monday, Claire replies, still not looking at me. She leaves, leaving a heavy silence in the house. I look at Noah, still gazing out the window, as if lost in a daydream about the clouds. This morning, Claire's mother, Vivian Bennett, called, saying she'll visit this weekend. Vivian is a powerful woman, always dressed elegantly and speaking politely, but I know she doesn't like me. To her, I'm a lowly art restorer, unworthy of her daughter. Whenever Vivian visits, I feel scrutinized, especially when she hints that Claire should manage my father's estate. I sigh, trying to shake off the discomfort. Noah, eat your breakfast, then I'll take you to the bus, I say, placing the orange juice in front of him. As I clear the table, Noah suddenly turns to me, his eyes flickering with strange worry. Dad, he says, his voice small but firm. When Mom leaves, you have to run. I freeze, my heart tightening. Those words, brief but echoing like a warning bell in an abandoned church. Why would Noah say that? A 7-year-old shouldn't know the word run in that way. But he doesn't explain further, just lowers his head to finish his milk, leaving me with a flood of unnamed questions. Claire left that afternoon for her business trip. The old house in the Philadelphia suburbs suddenly felt strangely empty. The wooden floor creaked under my feet in the silence, each step emphasizing her absence. But what unsettled me most was Noah's words, replaying in my mind like a haunting refrain. I tried to distance myself from the feeling, diving into work at the Whitman Institute, where I'm restoring an 18th century painting for an upcoming exhibition. Yet, even as I dabbed tiny brushstrokes on the aged canvas, my mind drifted to Claire, her late-night whispers on the phone, her evasive glances, and the invisible distance between us growing ever clearer. Lately, she's been mentioning the inheritance I'll receive from my father, as if she's already planning something I'm not allowed to know. At noon, I sat in my home office, surrounded by art books and restoration tools. I was reviewing a document for the exhibition when my phone rang. It was Vivian Bennett, Claire's mother. Daniel, I'll be visiting this weekend, Vivian said, her voice polite but cold. I want to see Noah, and we need to talk about the family's future. I gripped the phone tightly, sensing the familiar interference in her words. To her, I've always been an inadequate husband, a mere art restorer compared to her ambitious venture capitalist daughter. Yes, Vivian, I understand, I replied, keeping my voice steady. Noah will be happy to see you, But deep down, I knew Vivian wasn't coming just to visit her grandson. She always implied that my father's estate, antiques, real estate, and a large sum of money should be managed by Claire, as if I weren't capable. I hung up, irritation rising. I recalled a recent argument with Claire when I suggested using part of the inheritance to establish a gallery at the Whitman Institute in my father's name. It's a way to honor his legacy, I had said. But Claire only gave a thin smile. You're always dreaming, Daniel. We need to invest that money, not waste it on old paintings. Her words were sharp, as if I were an unrealistic fool. I began to wonder if Claire was hiding something, especially since my father's death 3 months ago. Her frequent business trips seemed to involve more than just work. While clearing the dining table, I heard Noah's soft footsteps. He walked in, holding an old photo, his expression unusually serious. Dad, look at this, Noah said, handing me the picture. It was a black and white photo of my father, Edward, standing in front of this house when he was young. I found it in the storage room, Noah continued, his voice small but steady. Grandpa told me the truth. I frowned, taking the photo. What truth, buddy? I asked, keeping my tone gentle. Noah looked at me, his eyes glinting with a mysterious spark. It's a secret, he replied, smiling as if playing a riddle game. I chuckled, thinking it was just a child's imagination. Noah was close to his grandpa, so it wasn't surprising he'd weave him into his story. But doubt still crept into my heart. I remembered a few weeks ago when Claire took a late-night call. She left the bedroom, whispering in the hallway, thinking I was asleep. Mom, we have to do it carefully, I overheard faintly. When I asked, Claire said it was work, but her eyes darted away. I tried to convince myself I was imagining things, that Claire couldn't be hiding anything serious. But Noah's words this morning, though innocent, made it impossible to ignore. That evening, Claire called from New York. I'm leaving early tomorrow, she said curtly. Need to prep for an important meeting. Okay, I replied, but unease stirred within me. I wanted to ask about the late-night calls, her changes, but I held back. After hanging up, I looked at Noah, sitting by the window, drawing clouds on a piece of paper. He was quieter than usual, his eyes tinged with a worry, unlike a child's. You okay, Noah? I asked, placing a hand on his shoulder. Noah looked up, his voice small but clear. I heard Mom talking to Grandma on the phone. They thought I didn't hear. I froze, my breath catching. What did you hear? I asked, keeping my tone calm. Noah looked out at the dark yard, his voice steady like he was recounting a distant dream. I didn't understand everything, just that they were talking about you, not good things. I hugged him, reassuring him. It might be a misunderstanding. But inside, my fear surged like a tide. I stepped into my office, trying to bury myself in files for the upcoming Whitman exhibition, where I'm restoring a rare ancient painting. But every word, every image blurred. Outside the window, darkness cloaked the backyard, the old trees swaying in the wind, as if whispering something. The ancient house nestled in Philadelphia's quiet suburb, but that very silence made everything feel more oppressive. I sat silently before the old photo of Edward Carter, my late father, whom Claire has been mentioning more than usual lately. The photo Noah found by chance in the basement now sat before me like a missing piece of a story I never thought I'd have to unravel. Claire was hiding something, and I began to fear it didn't just affect me, but Noah too. Noah walked in, holding a sheet of paper, covered in cloud drawings. Dad, I dreamed of Grandpa again, he said, his voice small but serious. He said there's a secret place in the house, a safe place when bad people come. I frowned, setting the photo down. A secret place, huh? I asked, keeping my tone light. Noah nodded, his eyes shining with a certainty, unlike a child's. I don't know exactly, but Grandpa said I'd find it. I smiled, thinking it was just Noah's dream reflecting his longing for his grandpa. My father, Edward, was a brilliant architect who designed this house with odd details, like a sealed basement I've never explored. But I never told Noah about that, so how did he know? I stood to comfort Noah, but an uneasy feeling stopped me. I recalled last night, while working in my office, I heard a strange noise outside, like slow footsteps on gravel. I looked out the window, but saw only darkness. This morning, as I took Noah to the bus, I caught a faint chemical smell, like gas, but thought I was imagining it. Now Noah's words made me wonder if those details were connected. I stepped into the hallway, checking the house's security system. The indicator light blinked oddly, and a side door rattled, despite no wind. I shook my head, telling myself I was being paranoid. That afternoon, Noah sat by the window, drawing clouds, but his eyes lacked their usual dreaminess. He was silent, clutching his pencil tightly, as if waiting for something. "What's wrong, Noah?" I asked, placing a hand on his shoulder. Noah looked up, his eyes filled with a worry unlike a child's. "I heard Mom and Grandma talking on the phone," he said, his voice small but clear. "They thought I didn't see, but I heard. They talked about you, about a plan." I froze, my heart racing. "What plan, buddy?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. Noah looked out the window, his gaze distant. "I didn't understand everything, but Grandma said they had to do it fast, before you decided about the money." A chill ran down my spine. I thought of the inheritance from my father, antiques, real estate, and a large sum that Claire and Vivian often mentioned. Lately, Claire urged me to sell my father's antique collection for investments, while I wanted to use it for a gallery at the Whitman Institute. Could she be planning something? I hugged Noah, reassuring him it might be a misunderstanding. "Your mom's just busy with work calls," I said, but my voice lacked conviction. Noah shook his head, his eyes still tense. "It's not work, Dad, I know." That night, in the kitchen warmed by yellow light, I stirred a pot of soup, but my mind drifted among quiet suspicions. Outside the window, the backyard was swallowed by thick darkness. Suddenly, a fleeting movement, a tall figure in a black coat, slowly walking along the fence. I froze, gripping the knife reflexively. I rushed to the back door, my heart pounding, but no one was there. Just the cold wind and a strange chemical smell, stronger than before, hitting my face and making me shudder. I quickly checked the security panel. The lights still blinked erratically, like an unreadable code. Turning back inside, I found Noah standing by the doorway, eyes wide with tension. "Dad," he whispered, "I feel something's coming." I hugged Noah, seeking calm in that embrace, but my heart grew heavier. Claire's brief words this morning, about her sudden trip, the important meeting, now sounded like a rehearsed script. I looked at the old photo of my father, Edward Carter, on my desk, wondering if Noah's intuition was mere coincidence, or something deeper, beyond rational explanation. The next morning, with Claire gone, the air in the house felt thick. I stood alone in the kitchen, gripping a hot ceramic mug, as if letting go would shatter me, along with all the doubts in my head. Noah's words echoed relentlessly. "Dad, something's coming." That feeling was no longer just a child's hunch, it was a warning signal. The fragments I'd ignored were connecting the stranger in the night, the chemical smell lingering around the house, the erratic security system, and my son's anxious eyes. Each detail was part of a larger picture, something lurking in the shadows. This time, I couldn't look away. Noah walked into the kitchen, clutching his favorite teddy bear, his eyes more serious than ever. "Dad, we have to run now," he said, his voice trembling but resolute. I froze, setting the coffee mug down. "Run? Why, buddy?" I asked, keeping my tone calm. Noah stepped closer, his eyes glinting with fear. "Mom and Grandma want to hurt you. I heard them talk about Grandpa's money. They want it all." My heart pounded. I thought of the inheritance from my father, Edward Carter, antiques, real estate, and a large sum that Claire and Vivian often mentioned. Was Noah really hearing something, or was it his imagination? I knelt down, looking into Noah's eyes. "When did you hear them?" I asked. Noah swallowed, his voice small but clear. "Yesterday, when Mom called Grandma, I was outside her room. They didn't know," Grandma said. "If Dad's gone, everything's ours." Mom said it has to look like an accident. A chill ran down my spine. I wanted to dismiss Noah's words, but his certainty, his fearful eyes, made it impossible to ignore. I hugged him, hiding my panic. "Okay, buddy. I'll check." I led Noah to the living room, trying to stay calm, but my mind was chaos. I remembered Claire's office, always locked when she was away. Yesterday, I noticed the door slightly ajar but hadn't checked. I stepped inside, heart pounding. On the desk were financial documents, but when I opened the bottom drawer, usually locked, I found an envelope labeled insurance file. With trembling hands, I opened it. It was a new life insurance policy, with me as the insured and Claire as the beneficiary. The payout was unusually high, dated a week after my father's death. Beneath it was a note about the security system, with instructions to remotely lock windows and doors. My blood ran cold. This couldn't be a coincidence. I returned to the living room, where Noah stood, eyes tense. Dad, I'm telling the truth, Noah said, his voice almost pleading. I nodded, swallowing my fear. I believe you, I said, though my mind wrestled between reason and instinct. I recalled the chemical smell last night, the figure in the black coat, and the erratic security system. All pointed to a terrifying truth. Claire and Vivian might be planning to harm me, for my father's estate. Suddenly, a noise came from the front door, like a lock turning. I pulled Noah behind me, heart racing. Through the window, I saw a black car parked outside, and the figure in the black coat slowly circling the fence. The chemical smell, now clearly gas, wafted again, stronger than ever. Noah, we have to go, I said, urgently. I ran to the bedroom, grabbing a small bag from the closet, stuffing in cash, passports, and my father's engraved watch. My most precious keepsake. Noah quickly put on his coat, clutching his teddy bear, his eyes full of fear, but also resolve. I led Noah down the stairs, planning to escape through the back door, but footsteps from the front grew closer. I stopped, listening. A stranger's male voice whispered on the phone. Ready. Just need the signal. My chest tightened. Noah, I was wrong, I whispered, hugging him tightly. You were right. We have to run now. Noah nodded, his eyes shining with trust. Noah's warning. We have to run now. And the chilling discoveries in Claire's office, the life insurance policy, the security system note, left no room for doubt. Claire and her mother, Vivian Bennett, were plotting to kill me, likely for the inheritance from my father, Edward Carter. The figure in the black coat, outside, the strong gas smell, and the whispered phone call confirmed the danger closing in. I led Noah toward the back door, hoping to escape, but a metallic sound made me freeze. The house's security system suddenly activated. Metal shutters on the windows and doors slammed down, screeching, locking every exit. I tried the back door handle, but it wouldn't budge. It's locked, I exclaimed, panic rising. The gas smell now flooded the air, so strong it made me dizzy. A small explosion sounded upstairs, with red light flickering through the door crack. Dad, Noah cried, clutching his teddy bear, his eyes full of fear, but still steady. I pulled him behind me, searching for an escape, but every window and door was sealed by metal shutters. We were trapped, and the risk of a gas explosion was imminent. Dad, this way, Noah suddenly shouted, his voice cutting through my panic. He ran to the kitchen, pointing at the pantry. Grandpa told me, there's a secret door behind the pantry. I froze, but there was no time to question. I recalled Noah's dream about a secret place, his grandpa revealed. My father, an architect, designed this house with odd features, like a sealed basement I never explored. Was Noah truly guided by my father? I followed him, yanking the pantry shelves. A small, dusty wooden door appeared behind the canned goods, nearly invisible, unless you looked closely. Noah didn't hesitate, pushing the door open. A cold, musty breeze hit us from the darkness within. I'll go first, you follow, Noah said, his voice carrying strange confidence. I grabbed his hand, stepping into the narrow passage, barely wide enough for me to crouch. The door closed behind us, muffling the growing explosions from the house. This secret passage, likely designed by my father during wartime to protect the family, was thick with cobwebs and dust, unused for decades. The faint light from my phone's flashlight barely lit the damp stone walls and low ceiling tangled with roots. You okay, Noah? I asked, turning to him, his eyes glinting in the dark. I nodded, though my heart pounded. You're doing great, Noah. Keep going. But fear clung to me. Was this a trap? Did Claire know about this passage? Louder explosions echoed from afar, and smoke seeped through cracks. The fire was spreading fast, and the gas could ignite any moment. I urged Noah to move faster, though the passage narrowed, forcing us to nearly crawl. A section of the ceiling collapsed, dust and rocks falling, making me panic. Careful, Noah, I shouted, pulling him from a large stone. Dad, I know the way, Noah said, his voice full of certainty, as if guided by an unseen force. Grandpa said it leads to the garden, under the shed. I didn't know how Noah knew this, but I trusted him completely. The passage sloped downward, deeper into the earth. The air grew stifling, and the house's explosions became dull roars, like a beast's growl. Smoke crept into the passage, making me cough. I held Noah tightly, fearing we wouldn't escape in time. Finally, a faint light appeared ahead. Noah pushed a small door in the stone wall, its rusty hinges creaking. Beyond was the dark space under the garden shed, a distance from the main house. I carried Noah, running up the old wooden stairs, shoving the shed door open. Fresh air rushed in, clearing the smoke and gas smell. We collapsed on the grass, gasping. Looking back, I saw the ancient house engulfed in flames, black smoke billowing into the sky, the red glow illuminating the garden. Fire truck sirens wailed in the distance, but the house, my father's legacy, was beyond saving. I hugged Noah tightly, tears streaming down my face. "You saved me, Noah," I whispered, voice choking. Noah looked up, his eyes strangely calm. "Grandpa helped me," he said, as if it were obvious. I shivered, sensing an unseen presence, as if my father was truly watching over us. I grabbed Noah's hand, running toward Rachel Hayes's house, a colleague living a few houses away. An image of the raging flames, and the explosion's roar, haunted me. But our miraculous survival, thanks to the secret passage Noah found, gave a flicker of hope. Noah's warning, the life insurance policy in Claire's office, and the man in the black coat confirmed a terrifying truth. Claire and her mother, Vivian Bennett, plotted to kill me for my father's inheritance. Now my only thought was protecting Noah and uncovering the truth. We ran to Rachel Hayes' house, my close colleague at the Whitman Institute, a few houses away. I pounded on the door, breathless, clothes reeking of smoke. Rachel opened it, shocked to see us covered in soot and panic. "Daniel, Noah, what happened?" she asked, pulling us inside. "Rachel, call the police now," I said, voice trembling. "Claire, she tried to kill us. The house, it's burning." Rachel didn't hesitate, dialing 911, while I sat on the couch, holding Noah tightly. The 7-year-old, still clutching his teddy bear, had an eerily calm look, as if prepared for this moment. While waiting for the police, I told Rachel everything. Noah's warning, the life insurance policy with me as the insured and Claire as the beneficiary, the security system note, the gas smell, and the mysterious man. I pulled out my phone, hands shaking, showing photos I'd snapped of the documents in Claire's office before fleeing. "This is proof," I said, handing the phone to Rachel. She looked at the images, shaking her head in disbelief. "Daniel, this is horrific. How could Claire do this?" Noah, sitting beside me, spoke up, his voice small but clear. "I heard Mom and Grandma talking on the phone. They wanted Dad gone to get Grandpa's money." The sound of fire trucks and police sirens filled the air. The fire had consumed the house, and firefighters were battling to contain it. A seasoned detective, Sullivan, entered Rachel's house, taking our statements. I laid out the whole story, showing the photos of the insurance policy and security note. "This wasn't an accident," I insisted, voice firm. "Claire and her mother, Vivian Bennett, planned this. The security system was altered to lock us inside, and gas was leaked to cause an explosion." Sullivan studied the photos, frowning. "These are serious allegations, Mr. Carter. We'll need more evidence." Noah, though small, stood tall, his eyes unwavering. "I heard Mom and Grandma talking," he said firmly. "They said if Dad was gone, everything would be there. They wanted it to look like an accident." Sullivan looked at the boy, his expression softening. "When did you hear this, Noah?" he asked. "Yesterday, outside Mom's room," Noah replied, recounting details. "Mom thought I didn't hear, but I did. Grandma said they had to act fast, before Dad decided about the money." I hugged Noah tightly, both proud and heartbroken that he had to witness such horror. Sullivan took notes, then turned to me. "We've checked the scene. There are chemical traces around the house, and the security system was clearly tampered with. This wasn't an accident. It was an intentional gas explosion." I exhaled, but the relief faded quickly, as Sullivan continued. "However, to charge your wife and her mother, we need more evidence. Can you reach Miss Bennett?" I shook my head, calling Claire's phone, but only got endless ringing. "She said she's in New York, but I'm not sure," I said, voice bitter. Sullivan sent a team to Vivian Bennett's house. When police contacted her, Vivian answered the phone, with unsettling calm. "I know nothing about this," she said. "Claire's in New York for work. You should verify before accusing my family." But her voice lacked sincerity, and Sullivan noted it. He turned to me. "We'll investigate further. Stay safe, and report anything unusual." I nodded, but fear still gripped me. I looked at Noah, sitting by Rachel, drawing clouds on paper, as if seeking peace. Rachel gave us a bedroom to rest, but I couldn't sleep. I stared at the photos on my phone, searching for more clues. The images of the insurance policy and security note stabbed at my heart. Claire, the woman I once loved, had planned to kill me and Noah for my father's estate. I thought of Noah's words about his grandpa, the secret place that saved us. Had my father truly guided Noah through dreams? I hugged my sleeping son, feeling his steady breaths. The initial evidence, photos of the life insurance policy, the security system note, and Noah's testimony about the call between Claire and Vivian convinced Detective Sullivan to expand the investigation. I was still haunted by the fire that destroyed my father's legacy, but uncovering the truth about Claire and Vivian's plot was paramount. Noah and I prepared to face a legal battle to expose their crimes. Just hours after I provided the evidence, police discovered Claire wasn't in New York, as she claimed. She was arrested at a gas station on an interstate, her car containing fake IDs and a suitcase full of cash. Claire screamed as she was handcuffed. "I'm innocent. This is my mother's scheme." Her accusation led police to Vivian Bennett. Vivian, initially maintaining her poised calm, was arrested at her lavish suburban home. When told Claire blamed her, she dropped her facade, her voice trembling with rage. "Ungrateful daughter. I did everything for her." The rift between mother and daughter became the key to unraveling the truth. The trial took place 3 months later in a packed Philadelphia courtroom. I sat in the front row, holding Noah's hand, my eyes filled with resolve but also pain. The prosecutor presented the case sharply, stating that Claire and Vivian meticulously planned to kill me and Noah to seize the inheritance from Edward Carter, antiques, real estate, and a large sum. The defendant, Claire Bennett, altered the security system to trap the victims inside, leaked gas to cause an explosion, and staged it as an accident. The prosecutor declared Vivian Bennett was the mastermind, manipulating her daughter to execute the plan. The evidence was undeniable. Phone recordings from Claire revealed detailed discussions with Vivian about making me disappear and staging the gas explosion. A security technician confirmed the house system was remotely tampered with, matching the note I found. The life insurance policy, with its massive payout and Claire as the beneficiary, was presented as the primary motive. The prosecutor also revealed Claire's crippling debts from failed investments and a secret lover she planned to share the estate with after my death. But the most emotional moment was Noah's testimony. The 7-year-old stepped onto the stand, small but eerily calm, his eyes unwavering. "I heard Mom and Grandma talking on the phone," Noah recounted clearly. "They said if my dad was gone, everything would be there. Grandma said they had to act fast, and Mom said it had to look like an accident." The prosecutor asked, "When did you hear this, Noah?" He replied, 3 days before the explosion, outside Mom's room. She didn't know I was there." Noah's sincere, detailed testimony silenced the courtroom. Some jurors wiped tears, moved by the boy's courage. Claire, at the defendant's table, bowed her head, unable to look at Noah. Vivian, however, glared at her daughter, as if blaming her entirely. Claire's defense attorney argued she was manipulated by her mother, that Vivian was the sole mastermind. But this strategy collapsed when Vivian, in a fit of rage, stood and shouted, "I did it all for Claire. I didn't deserve that estate. If he died, Claire would have the life she deserved." Vivian's spontaneous confession stunned the courtroom, and the prosecutor swiftly used it to strengthen the charges. In the end, both Claire and Vivian were convicted. Claire received 15 years for attempted murder and arson, while Vivian got 8 years for conspiracy and masterminding. As the verdict was read, I hugged Noah tightly, relief mixing with pain. I had loved Claire, believed we were a family, but the truth exposed a darkness I never imagined. Days after the trial, I returned to the charred remains of the house, searching for fragments of my father's memory. Among the debris, I found a small box containing a handwritten letter from Edward Carter. With trembling hands, I opened it. The letter read, "Daniel, be careful with Claire. She asked me about the estate, but I refused when I learned her company was in financial trouble. Protect Noah and preserve our legacy." The letter was written 2 weeks before my father's death. Like a warning from the past, my heart tightened. My father had seen the truth, but didn't have time to tell me. I sat among the ashes, tears streaming down. This letter, along with Noah's dream, felt like my father's guidance, protecting us from death's grasp. I clutched the letter, resolved to rebuild a life for me and Noah. The truth was out, but the cost was steep. The house, my trust, and a family we once had. I looked at Noah, standing with Rachel, drawing a picture of his grandpa. The trial concluded, with Claire Bennett sentenced to 15 years and Vivian Bennett to 8 years for attempted murder. The painful truth about Claire, the wife I once loved, and Vivian's manipulation left deep scars, but I was determined to rebuild a life for me and Noah, rooted in love and trust. The new house, with bright white walls and large windows, was where Noah and I started over. I used part of my father's inheritance, antiques and cash, to establish a small gallery at the Whitman Institute, named Edward's Legacy. The gallery not only displayed the artworks I restored, but also honored my father's legacy, the man who saved us through Noah's dream. I returned to my work at the Institute, finding peace in the meticulous hours, as if each brushstroke healed a piece of my heart. Noah, though only 7, showed remarkable resilience. With help from Dr. Emily Foster, a psychologist, he began overcoming the trauma of the explosion. Noah drew more, and one of his paintings, a depiction of his grandpa Edward standing before the old house, with clouds swirling in the sky, was chosen for a local student exhibition. Dad, Grandpa would be proud, right? Noah asked, eyes sparkling. I hugged him, smiling. Absolutely, buddy. He's always watching over us. Rachel Hayes, the colleague who opened her door to us that horrific night, became a vital part of our lives. She visited often, bringing cookies and funny stories, making Noah laugh more. Emily Foster also became a close friend, joining our cozy evenings at the new house. One Christmas Eve, Noah, Rachel, Emily and I gathered by the fireplace, its flames dancing and lighting the room. Outside, snow fell lightly, blanketing Philadelphia in a pristine white, symbolizing a fresh start. Dad, what's a real family? Noah suddenly asked, eyes curious. I thought for a moment, then answered softly, it's not just blood, buddy. Family is the people who love and protect each other, no matter what. Noah nodded, as if he understood. So Grandpa's family, right? He saved us. I smiled, warmth filling my chest. Exactly. And Rachel, Emily too, we're family. Noah looked at Rachel and Emily, beaming. Can Rachel and Emily stay with us forever? His innocent question made us all laugh, and Rachel ruffled his hair. We'll always be here, Noah. As the fireplace flickered, I looked out the window at the falling snow. I felt an unseen presence, as if my father, Edward, was smiling from afar. His letter, Noah's dream, and the secret passage had saved us from Claire and Vivian's plot. You saved me, Noah, I said, hugging him tightly. Noah looked up, eyes shining. We have each other, Dad, and Grandpa too. I nodded, tears falling silently. The new house, though small, was where we rebuilt trust and hope, step by step. The story my son told me to run, when my wife left for a business trip, reflects the complex facets of modern American life, particularly the strain in family relationships, financial pressures, and the importance of intuition and self-preservation. Set in suburban Philadelphia, the story portrays Daniel Carter, a devoted father, facing a plot by his wife, Claire, and mother-in-law, Vivian, to seize the inheritance from his father, Edward. Details like the secret life insurance policy, tampered security system, and staged gas explosion highlight a troubling reality in America today, where greed and debt can lead to extreme actions, even within families. Noah's keenness, a 7-year-old detecting the plot through dreams and overheard calls, underscores the role of children in sensing danger, often overlooked in modern society. Daniel and Noah's recovery journey, from establishing Edward's Legacy Gallery to a warm Christmas Eve with Rachel and Emily, showcases the power of community and rebirth after trauma, a core American value. The lesson: always listen to your intuition and the small signs in life, especially in close relationships. The story teaches that, as Daniel ignored Claire's late-night calls or Vivian's suspicious behavior, dismissing warning signs can lead to grave consequences. In America's fast-paced, financially pressured society, maintaining open communication with family, like Noah's candid warning to Daniel, and building a support network with friends like Rachel is essential. Moreover, Noah's resilience reminds us that children can play a critical role in protecting their families, so respect and listen to them. Finally, as Daniel created a gallery to honor his father, turn pain into motivation for positive value. A very American spirit, overcoming adversity to build a better future. Subscribe to the channel to not miss dramatic stories like Daniel and Noah's journey, where intuition and family love triumph over every plot. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video, with new mystery.